Bitcoin and altcoins should be friends. Altcoins and bitcoins can be viewed as one single investment by the astute investor. Bitcoin is the long-term secure investment which you can be sure will go up over the longer term. Whereas altcoins are high-risk, high-reward bets, many of which will also go up a lot after Bitcoin does. Many alts have already made a lot of money for investors. If the only use case or value of the entire altcoin industry is that it is a lottery or an online casino, then this is okay. Because there are many lotteries and casinos in the world. Even if you don't believe in the underlying technology and think all alts are scams, altcoins must still be looked at as being the lesser of two evils when compared with fiat. It is the lesser of two evils because it has helped to promote Bitcoin and because it has never prohibited people from purchasing fiat, unlike fiat which has frequently prohibited people from purchasing cryptocurrency. In fact, I believe many people have relied on altcoin successes to feed their families after being completely ostracized by the traditional financial establishment. I ask the following: how will you feed yourself and your family when you have been completely ostracized by the traditional financial establishment? When you are unable to obtain a loan because your interests are related to the crypto industry? Merely opening a bank account is a huge difficulty. How will you avoid working in minimum wage casual slave labor jobs while Bitcoin is taking its breather? Yes. As unbelievable as it sounds. And as dangerous as it may be to say it. The answer is to be found inside the belly of the beast. It requires you to go deeper into the intestines of the cryptocurrency market and ride the churn and the digestive juices. It requires you to turn to the lesser of the two evils. I wouldn't have imagined before 2021 with siding with the non-Bitcoin side of the crypto market, but I have formed the opinion that it is the necessary lesser of the two evils. Because I experienced just how obstructive the latter was. Bitcoin is the beast. Bitcoin is the exterior. Bitcoin will always grow and shrink in an upwards trajectory, and in the process, will take the rest of the cryptocurrency market up or down with it. Therefore, to acquire truly life-changing wealth, we should look at alts as an opportunity to maximize our gains by buying into them with a small proportion of our bitcoins. We should not have too much prejudice. Caution must always be had. But so too should the urgency to seek greater returns with smaller cap coins. The belly of the beast is altcoins and they should not be overlooked. The crux of it is when any normal ordinary law-abiding person who is struggling to feed themselves seeks to try to improve their own situation by investing their money into cryptocurrency, this is a personal and God-given right of theirs. But when the traditional system attempts to stop them from doing this, or even discourage beyond reason from doing this with their own money, then in my mind, the traditional system is the greater of two evils. Never underestimate the extent and sacrifices to which cryptocurrency enthusiasts in both the Bitcoin and altcoin space have had to fight to preserve these freedoms. These are freedoms of currency ownership people have likely taken for granted. No one has ever forced someone to buy a Bitcoin or an altcoin. It has always only ever been an available option and nothing more. Whether you believe the traditional system is doing this with good intentions or not is irrelevant. There is a line between discouraging and preventing that should not be breached. Crypto enthusiasts may discourage you from keeping too much of your money in fiat or discourage you from buying real estate or stocks or shares or other assets, but they will never physically block you from doing so. The same cannot be said for those groups who oppose Bitcoin and altcoins. If you don't stand up to your own right to choose your wealth storage at the very moment you need it the most, whether that be in Bitcoins or altcoins, then you have nothing. You are less relevant than the ants that scurry across the lawn in the public park. You have no say in how your future will be. Instead, you will forever be second to the decisions of others who decide how that fiat is created, who it is given to, and how it is allocated and distributed. This is akin to communism at its worst and most detrimental. History has showed us what communism does to a country. And there is a clear winner between communism and capitalism. I also believe that many people who start out on this journey into cryptocurrency do so with good intentions. They do it with optimistic eyes and hearts and strive to change the world or to make money. However, along this journey, the powers that be force this individual to either go hard or go home. They are either forced to devote themselves to the cause or to fail from the resistance. Giving up is definitely an acceptable option, especially if their circumstances warrant it, such as if it would be dangerous for them to continue the path due to their unique circumstances. But for those who can continue the fight, they need to make the decision to go in hard to fight for what is right or to quit entirely. There is no doubt in these people's minds that Bitcoin is right. And that journey might have taken them to places they never knew existed. It may take them in a direction they never wanted, or to pay a price they could never get a refund from. It may have forced them to make sacrifices that last all the remaining years of their life. After being completely ostracized from the financial system, some of these people might decide the only way to continue the fight and to stay financially viable is to launch their own cryptocurrency as part of their business. Or to work for these altcoin businesses. Staying in the game successfully may have required them to be this much more committed. After all, their entire reputation had already been rolled up in their work. They had already faced a lifetime of tracking by governments and banks. They more than likely had been blacklisted from financial institutions and routinely refused loans. And their employment career and job prospects in other industries had already taken a sharp turn off a bridge as it was pivoted towards a full-time career in crypto, flying to the moon. There was pretty much no going back. It was go hard or go home, 'cause if there was weakness, there would have been failure. Only the true believers stayed in the game. Believers who could not let Bitcoin fail. My point is, don't be too against all altcoins. Because not everyone who started out on the worthy journey had the luxury of ample fiat money. Plus, altcoins have proven during two major cycles already, in 2017 and 2021, that they can bring huge returns for investors. And some of them may be run by these visionaries mentioned above, who genuinely want to improve the world. Being a hardcore Bitcoin maximalist to the extent that all opposing cryptocurrencies are viewed as evil is detrimental to the movement as a whole. The movement is to give financial freedom to everyone in the world. I go on the record now as saying that I have made that switch in mindset. And if I can do it, then so can everyone else. And at the end of the day, it is not possible to stop people from buying altcoins, just like it is not possible to stop people from buying Bitcoin. The traditional financial system has had to contend that Bitcoins are here to stay in a forever increased capacity. Bitcoiners should also see that altcoins are here to stay, probably in at least an equal capacity. View them as good and evil, or the light side and the dark side, like in Star Wars, if that will help you to accept it. Because when we look at Bitcoin as being one item from all possible items, which people can keep their value in, including real estate, stocks, shares and all other assets, we will soon see that Bitcoins and altcoins are sort of the same. Imagine the investment world as a 3D object with many different faces, and each face represents a different item. Every face will grow or shrink at the expense of the other faces, with the total surface area of this object representing all the wealth in the world. And new faces can pop up at any time. When viewed in this way, at the heart of it, Bitcoin is not all that different to altcoins. And it is not that much different to many of the other asset classes people can store their wealth in. What really matters is your total ownership percentage of all this surface area of this 3D object, that is, your percentage of all the wealth of the world. It doesn't matter so much what the size of the Bitcoin face is, or what the size of the altcoin space is. Because Bitcoin will also never always go up forever in a straight line, and altcoins will never always go up in a straight line. Before any altcoins came into existence, Bitcoin still faced huge increases and huge drops in its value. It took this wealth from other asset classes people had their value, or money, in. The goal is for you to make money and increase your wealth by owning Bitcoins, or by owning both Bitcoins and altcoins. Altcoins should always be viewed with skepticism, and Bitcoins should always be your core allocation, but the right altcoins have a place in all portfolios when and if they are mooning, especially if it happens shortly after Bitcoin sets a new all-time high. If Bitcoin sets a new all-time high after a long bear market, then with almost complete certainty, the altcoin industry as a whole will also set new all-time highs shortly afterwards. This is such a predictable pattern now that it has happened two major times, firstly in 2017 and secondly in 2021. To totally ignore this occurrence purely on BTC maximalism isn't good for your financial situation. And it isn't good for the two industries, Bitcoins and altcoins, since it makes us weaker than we otherwise can be. It also takes our focus away from the real opponent, which is fiat. The infighting will only distract us. We also need to remember that the main altcoin promoters are usually also strong believers or promoters of Bitcoin. If these people have become wealthy from their altcoins and they have already cashed out their Bitcoins and altcoins into fiat or houses or other assets, then when the time calls for it, and when and if Bitcoin is in dire need of their help, they will answer the call to buy Bitcoins. Those individuals and groups who own businesses related to cryptocurrency in particular will buy Bitcoins. Those individuals and groups who have devoted their lives to the crypto mission will buy Bitcoins. They will likely sell the rest of their altcoins to buy Bitcoins. They will likely sell a lot of their fiat to buy Bitcoins. They will likely sell their houses and cars and boats, and even much of their other businesses to buy Bitcoins. They may even accept the risk of upsetting their life partners to buy Bitcoin. Nothing in the world is more important than Bitcoin when Bitcoin needs their help. When and if the call for help from the Bitcoin Reaper is made, it will be answered by both altcoiners and Bitcoiners who have invested heavily in the industry. All altcoiners become Bitcoiners when and if they are needed. So altcoins aren't to be looked at too negatively. They provide a strong buffer for cryptocurrency as a whole. They ensure that every non-Bitcoin cryptocurrency can crash irreparably, but Bitcoin won't, and therefore Bitcoin can lead the recovery. They help to pique people's interest and attention to Bitcoin when it is mooning. And they buffer it from crashing beyond repair during extreme downturns. Bitcoin creates demand for altcoins. And altcoins creates demand for Bitcoin. Wouldn't you agree that alts deserve some praise as opposed to constant criticism? Anything that helps cement Bitcoin's position in the world deserves some credit for it. But most importantly, individually and separated, we are weak. But together, we are strong.